All right, let's dive right into this explainer and completely demystify the life cycle of a data analysis project. We're going from messy, raw data all the way to validated, real-world insights. So, if you've ever sat there wondering how professional data analysts actually take a massive, unstructured data set and magically turn it into a sleek, interactive dashboard, well, you're in the exact right place. We're going to walk through the exact end-to-end workflow you need to build a truly standout portfolio project. Because here's the thing, to actually land those job interviews, you need to show you can handle the true analyst journey. You have to conquer client demands across multiple tools like Power BI and SQL. It's really not just about making pretty charts. It's about proving you can gather requirements, scrub the data clean, model it logically, and then mathematically validate your final results. You absolutely have to demonstrate a holistic understanding of the whole shebang.
So here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover the blueprint, preparing the data kitchen, modeling and time intelligence, visualizing the insights, and lastly, validating the final dashboard. Section 1, the blueprint, understanding the raw data and requirements.
Every single project has to begin with understanding the raw data and figuring out what the stakeholders actually need from you. We are starting with an absolute monster of a data set here, over 307,000 rows of road accident records across 21 columns, covering the years 2021 and 2022. This flat CSV file contains literally everything from location coordinates to light conditions, and in its current state, it's completely unreadable for decision makers.
And those decision makers are your key stakeholders. They desperately need primary KPIs, like total current year casualties and year-over-year growth, to make high-stakes, life-saving infrastructure decisions. If you're building this road accident dashboard, the Ministry of Transport and the police force are your end users. They are completely relying on your ability to distill those 307,000 rows into actionable metrics so they can proactively reduce accidents.
Section 2, preparing the data kitchen, cleaning with Power Query. Now, before we can even think about building visualizations, we have to battle some seriously messy data. And I absolutely love this metaphor, the data kitchen. In Power Query, you must shape, clean, and prep your raw ingredients before serving the final dish. You're basically chopping the vegetables and seasoning the meat. If your data isn't properly cooked here, your final dashboard is going to serve up completely inaccurate insights to your stakeholders, and nobody wants that. Here's a perfect example. We have to use the replace values function to fix a massive spelling error in the accident severity column. In our source data, the word fatal was consistently mistyped as fetal with an E. I mean, yikes, right? If we don't catch and fix this during our kitchen prep phase, our final dashboard would feature a highly unprofessional typo in literally one of its most critical KPIs.
Section 3, modeling and time intelligence, forging analytical weapons.
Okay, now we move into linking tables and writing DAX formulas. To answer mandatory client requirements, like calculating year-over-year growth, we really have to go beyond basic math. Stakeholders don't just want to know how many accidents happened. They want to know, is the trend improving compared to last year? Calculating this dynamically requires some advanced understanding of how your tools handle dates. So, the crucial point to remember is that whenever your raw data has a date field, you absolutely must create a custom date table in your model to enable these time intelligence calculations. You can't just rely on the accident dates buried in your raw file. By building a dedicated calendar table from January 1st to December 31st, and then creating a one-to-many relationship with your main dataset, you unlock powerful DAX functions like same period last year, which are essential for those year-over-year comparisons. Section 4, visualizing the insights. Building the dashboard masterpiece. With our data finally cooked and modeled, we get to build the interactive masterpiece that actually delivers real-world insights. Breaking down casualties by area, we can see that urban locations consistently report a significantly higher proportion of accidents than rural ones. By presenting this cleanly, the Ministry of Transport can instantly see, without a shadow of a doubt, that they need to focus their infrastructure budgets right on city centers. Now, this is kind of wild. The dashboard also reveals that the vast majority of casualties occur in daylight conditions. Why? Simply because that is when traffic volume is at its absolute peak. While you might naturally assume driving in the dark is more dangerous, the sheer volume of drivers during the day dramatically inflates the raw casualty numbers. It's a perfect example of data completely challenging our standard, everyday assumptions. Most critically, we found that single carriageway roads are responsible for massive spikes in accidents, sometimes representing over 70% of the total. When users see this laid out mathematically, it provides undeniable evidence to local governments that single-lane roads are a severe safety hazard, requiring immediate, urgent multi-lane conversions.
Section 5. Validating the final dashboard. Proving its worth with SQL. Okay, so you've built this beautiful dashboard, but you can't just hand it over to a client and call it a day. No way. We have to enter the final validation phase to prove our metrics are absolutely flawless. We must cross-check the flashy visuals we built in Power BI against the cold, hard truth of the database using SQL. Because think about it. If your dashboard says there were 195,000 casualties, but the underlying database query returns a completely different number, your dashboard is fundamentally broken. By importing our CSV into an MSSQL Server and writing queries, we ensure the backend data totals perfectly match our front-end outputs. We create the database, carefully import our flat file, making sure to map the correct data types, like using varchar instead of generic formats, and then we write our select statements to manually count the casualties. This verifies that our DAX formulas are actually correct.
I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought. If your SQL query and your dashboard numbers conflict, which one is telling the truth? Understanding how to navigate that exact conflict is where the real magic happens, and it's exactly what separates the amateurs from the true professional analysts. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I highly, highly encourage you to test this exact workflow out on your very next project.